everybody, Ramanand here again at the Stardom Show, and today we have a very special guest with us, Melissa Krivacheck, best-selling author and business coach helping people build multi-million dollar businesses. And I'm sure she can inspire a lot of you people with her insights and perspectives because she is multiple best-selling author, international best-selling author. And let's hear her story, her journey, and her perspectives today. Melissa, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Great. Melissa, what's your message to the world? Let's start with that.
So my message to the world is that you can have everything all at the same time. More clients, more money, and more love, success, and happiness.
Awesome, awesome. How did you arrive at figuring out this message? Was there a story behind that?
Yes, of course, there's a story behind that. In 2004, I started with Walmart. I eventually became their youngest store manager ever at 19, and then I got fired for doing the right thing in 2008. That spiraled me literally out of control, maxing out 5 credit cards, going $50,000 in debt. I ended up homeless for 36 days, got the car repossessed, and went to jail for another 6 days for speeding. So at the end of all of that, I realized there has to be a change. So I sort of changed. I mean, I changed my eating habits. I changed like a lot of things, but I still couldn't figure out during the 18 months that I was stuck at my parents' house in a town of 300 in Iowa what I was going to do. So I had a little bit of money because I was regurgitating everything I learned on YouTube, and eventually ended up moving to one of my favorite places, Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Long story short, I got dumped by an Indian rocket scientist, and I wrote my first book. And that was what propelled me to the level of success that I'm at today. I'm going on writing my 6th book. I've got 3 international bestsellers, and it feels like every time something negative happens, I turn it into a positive and become more successful as a result.
Amazing, amazing. So it's such a nice thing to know that you're, did 3 international bestsellers. Like, was that like planned or did it happen?
No. Not even writing a book was planned. I mean, I got dumped by a rocket scientist, so most people don't even believe that rocket scientists are real. They're just like, it's sort of like a running joke, right?
Right.
So it's amazing what that can actually do. So I just poured my emotions down on the paper, and then 5 months later it hit the international bestseller list, and I was like, oh my god, people are reading this.
Mm-hmm.
By that time I had already written a 2nd one, and a publisher had come to me for a 3rd book. So this is all in 2014, and I was like, there's no way anybody is going to write 3 books in 1 year. Do you know what it takes to write a book?
Absolutely.
And so I did actually write 3 in 1 year. I wrote 2 last year. I've written 2 this year. So, anybody can do it. It's not as complicated as people think it is. And at the end of the day, if you're feeling emotional, if you're feeling like you have a story, like you have a message, like any one of those 3 things, you should definitely start writing, because that's what people resonate with.
Yeah. So what kind of books do you write, Melissa? Is it fiction, non-fiction? How is it?
Yeah, I just write about life. I just write about what happens in my life.
Like, can we call it as self-help or motivational or inspirational?
Yeah, I would say that, but I'd also say it's geared towards business. I mean, if you want to build a multi-million dollar company like you mentioned in the intro, these are the exact steps that I've used to go from being in a situation of poverty to doing the same for myself. And I think it's super important that we recognize that not everyone has that goal, and that's okay. But if you just need like a little bit of hope, inspiration, or direction on how to lose weight, how to make more sales, how to build a bigger business, how to have more love in your life, and how to maintain all of these things, then this is for you, for sure.
Amazing, amazing. Melissa, my next question would be to ask you whether is there a teacher or a mentor that you remember having particularly influential for you in your journey?
Oh yeah, definitely. So there's a dude named Rick Derlinger. He's a Walmart store manager right now, and he's been with the company over 20 years. When I first started, I said I wanted to quit because it was difficult. Like, I really hated it. And It was his very first day at the store, and I remember him at the clothing rack, and I walked up to him and he was like, "You're not going to quit." I'm like, "Who are you to tell me I'm not going to quit? It's your first day here. You don't even know me." So, I'm a cocky 16-year-old, like most 16-year-olds. And he took me under his wings. He mentored me, and that's where I learned leadership and sales and influence and impact and all of those things. He's still with the company today. We actually ended up traveling store to store together. I rose above his ranks and then got fired. But I also reconnected with him 5 years later. So I was in Iowa at the time, and he lived in Minnesota. I called every store I could possibly call. I was like, "Where's Rick? Where's Rick? Where's Rick?" And no one would really tell me where Rick was until one assistant manager was like, "Oh, he's at this store." So I traveled to the store. It's like a 5-hour drive one way. And I think to myself, I'm just going to walk in the store, go to the restroom, and then I'm going to think about what I'm going to tell Rick when I hand him my books. Because he has no idea what I do these days. So I walk in the store, there's Rick. I'm like, "Rick!" and then I got to like tour the store, teach his management things about leadership and sales and all of that. And it was like super cool. And now we live literally 15 minutes apart from each other. So we have done the whole leadership sales thing for the last 12 years together. And it's been like an amazing journey. But he is definitely the one that has had the most influence from, when I was 16 till today.
Great to have mentors, and especially, like, I too believe that the experience and the perspective and insights that experience gives people, it's so amazing. That's what I call as wisdom. We can't like get it from university degrees or anything like that. Maybe someone has to teach you. Okay.
Yeah, you know what? I've got a master's degree in clinical psychology, and I think it's worthless. Like. I mean, it doesn't really do anything except for allow me to connect with people, but even so, I learned that in retail, so...
Yeah, exactly. Today, I've been interviewing a lot of people from around the world. People are asking, especially students, they are asking these questions like, why do I have to study 4 years, 5 years of my most productive, most I'm so full of energy, and these 4 years I'm spending in a university studying something that I may not use in my life ever again.
Yeah, well, it's been proven that, people in the 20 to 30 age group have already had like 10 to 15 jobs in their lifetime. And for people who are in their 40s and 50s, that's crazy to them. Like, why do you have so many jobs? And the answer to that is experience. We want to have more experience. We want to have more experiences. So we want to meet the people. We want to be engaged in the process, and we want to like go and travel and do fun things. But at the end of the day, it all comes back to how impactful is technology in our life. And if we go to a job where we can't have technology in our hands, we're not going to be satisfied. We're just not.
True. And technology has disrupted the way people live, work, communicate, travel, everything. Technology is so everywhere. All right.
Well,
so,
I mean,
yeah.
yes, you're in India, right?
I'm actually in the US. I go back and forth to India.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. Well, if you were in India right now, I'd be in the US. So it's pretty awesome because we're literally across the world from each other.
Sure.
And with one update, I'm like, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, absolutely. See, that's the power of technology. Okay. So, Melissa, what are the 3 qualities do you think are required to be successful in business or profession? What are the 3 things that you teach other people? How?
Okay, so you have to have relationships.
Okay.
No matter what, you have to build relationships with powerful people in order to become powerful yourself. So people is one thing. Then you have to have a process. If you don't have a process, you really don't have anything, because you can't grow your business or your influence. So people, processes, and then you have to have a product. Obviously, you're not going to sell anything without a product. The product has to have quality. People, products, and processes. You have these 3 things, you will be set to build any kind of business you want, have any kind of impact you want, and influence other people to do the same. Because they're all going to ask you, how did you do it? Well, I surrounded myself with the right people. I created a system to do it. And I connected with or engaged with or purchased products that help me get there.
That's so true. Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that, and it's so nice to for you to share these things with our viewers here on the show today.
Yeah.
Melissa, tell us about. I mean, you're a storyteller. I see that. Like you tell stories so nicely. So, do you have a story about some of the or one of the biggest challenges that you may have faced so far, and how did you overcome the challenge?
Well, I think one of the biggest challenges I had was having no money in the beginning. Like, how do you build a business with no money? And it comes back to the people. Like, you got to be reaching out to people, and you can do this through social media. So, one of the things that listeners can walk away from this interview knowing is that they can connect with anyone they want in the world. If we went through my phone right now, I literally have 127 millionaires and 3 billionaires in my Rolodex. Now, most people could never have that, and I've only been in business 6.5 years. The way that I've built these relationships is through social media and technology. All of us have access to technology, so no one can say that they don't. And they have it through the means of the library, which is free. So for any of you excuse makers, I've already eliminated the excuse. Go to
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
So go to the library, use your computer, use your phone, whatever, and go to Facebook. Find some influential people. If they have a following that's massive on Facebook, then go to Twitter. So I'll give you an example. Max Filisar is in the fitness industry. He's got about, I want to say 1.2 million people following him on Facebook, but he only has like 30,000 following him on Twitter. So how did I build a relationship? I went straight to Twitter because that's where the least amount of resistance is. Likewise, if you go to Facebook and find, let's just say, Com Mercer, the $500 million man. You find out who is commenting on Com statuses, who is following Com. You build rapport by having a common connection. You can also do this by having a common value. Like you and I share publishing and books as a common value. So
Sure.
It can be pets, it can be love, it can be relationships, it can be anything, but the faster you find the common value, the more connection and the deeper the connection with the individual is going to be.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's one of the amazing takeaways from this interview. Definitely, I can say that. Melissa, who are the people that you serve, and what do you do for them?
Yeah, I love serving business owners who are in the service-based arena. They can be in real estate, they could be in publishing, they could be in finance, they can be all across the board as long as they have a service-based business. I teach them how to sell, overcome objections, negotiate, how to go from point of contact to closed contract.
Oh, that's interesting. So you also run seminars, or you have courses? Like how do you serve people? Is it like coaching, one-on-one, group coaching? How does that work?
Yep, so we use technology to do online virtual training.
Okay.
We put entire companies into the system, and then we work with their management teams one-on-one. So the management team is the base, it's the foundation. If the management team is on board and getting the information to figure out who their target market is, and then actually go out there and build rapport in the marketplace. Like, for example, if we look at Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs constantly sold Apple phones, and he corrected all of the things that the marketplace wanted by continuing to sell updated versions of the Apple phone. He didn't wait for the perfect Apple product to go to market. He went to market and started creating the perfect Apple product, and today, that's how Steve Jobs and Apple have an iconic brand. The point of this is that you want to build an iconic brand. The only way to do that is through people, products, and processes.
Well said. People's products and processes. Well said. If the readers or people who are watching this video want to know more about you, where do they go and how do they do that?
Well, it's pretty simple. You can do everything, including see my 100 media appearances, all the interviews I've done with my own show, grab all the books and get any other information you want at melissakrivacheck.com. And I know you're going to spell this out, but I'll do it for you. This is the video. So MELISSAKRIVACHEK.com.
Perfect. So anything else you'd like to tell people about yourself?
I mean, I've been awarded tons of accolades, but at the end of the day, it's not about the accolades. I mean, we can go on and on. Top 1% of U.S. executives, Forbes 30 under 30, Forbes Coaches Council. I mean, this 3-time international best-selling author, 5 books. The point is that no matter where you are in your life, and by the way, I'm 28 years old, you can do anything. You can have as much impact and influence as you want. You're not too old. You're not too young. You're not too fat. You're not too thin. You know, you're not too broke. You're not too rich. None of these things are relevant to getting what you want in life. So you have to make a change, and you have to make the change today. Once you make the change, then you'll see all other things falling into place.
Awesome. That was so nice, Melissa. Thank you for all your amazing answers and insights and perspectives, and especially the 3 P's, people, process, and product. Great.
You got it. You got it.
Thank you so much for being on the show. And okay, viewers, if you have any questions from Melissa, you can post it below this video here, or you can get in touch with me, or I suggest that you go and watch or go to Melissa's websites and look at all the content there. Maybe you can also get some downloads. Probably Melissa would give you some downloads if you go to her website and learn all about her activities and see if this is something that you need to pursue and learn more from Melissa and her work. Thank you again, Melissa, for being on the show.
You're very welcome.